Fair warning, this what your episode finna sound like. Because the first time I recorded it, the microphone wasn't picking up my sound. And now we have this. And it is well, and I am well, and all is well. And we go forward. Public service announcement. Passionate. Let me tell you something. So what is this Passion PSA podcast? Who am I? Well, they call me Passion, short for passion, no last necessary. Why is there no last name necessary? Because the first name says it all. I am Passion and all that embodies. What do I do here? I give you the life coaching that you know you need, but don't enroll yourself in. When did I start? Actually, 2017. I'd leave a PSA on my Instagram regarding something I'd observed, and now we've evolved to this. Why do I do it? Why not? If even one person is able to take away one thing that changes their life, someone else's life, or changes the world for the better, then I've done what I was charged to do. So come on in, sit and listen for a while. There's something here for everyone at the Passion PSA podcast. Greetings and salutations, my beloved passionate newcomers, visitors, and guests. Welcome to another episode of the Passion PSA podcast, where I, passionate no last necessary, your get you right guru, issue a weekly public service announcement about whatever I have observed or was on my mind. Y'all don't even know. This is a for your consideration zone where the objective is to offer you a perspective you may not have previously considered to both A, expand your thinking, and B, aid you in becoming a better version of yourself and for others. This is a safe space, but not necessarily a delicate one. I will never rob you of your right to feel what you feel. The same way, I will not sugarcoat the truth to make it more palatable. The goal is to get you to higher, more expanded thinking so you can operate as your highest and best self. Each week, prior to getting into the topic, we take about 60 seconds to make affirmations to intentionally raise the vibration to ensure that regardless of what we discuss and how it may make you feel, we have intentionally started on the highest possible vibration and correct frequency. We know that a hit dog will holler. But if you put a little cushion there first, that holler may be reduced to a whimper. So if you are ready, go ahead and take a deep breath. You are always welcome to repeat after me or to take this time to state your own affirmations. I need this today, y'all. I am reliable. I am worth investing in. My word is solid. My work is solid. My character is solid. My relationships are solid. I honor the bonds I've created. I value the opportunities that my bonds create. I nurture my relationships. I create healthy relationships. I create long-lasting relationships. I am building and leaving a legacy of which I can be proud for generations to come. I am grateful. Ashe, ashe, ashe. Passionate, have any of you ever participated in an employee referral program? Do you know what it is and what it's for? Well, for those of you that don't, it is an opportunity for a current employee to refer someone they know for an available position at their job. Now, the referred potential employee is not guaranteed a spot through this program. They still have to go through whatever background checks, reference reviews, and whatever interview processes are required for the position. But it gives the referred an in-house reference, and it gives the employee the opportunity to gain a bonus if their referral pans out. So let's say my job has an available position. You need a job, so I tell you about the opening where I'm working. You say, bet, I'm gonna go fill out the application. I say, cool, I'm gonna tell my HR department, I'm gonna fill out the employee referral form, and then I tell you to put my name where it asks if anyone referred you, and if so, who. Boom. You get hired, you probably gonna be on probation for like 90 days, right? That's the standard. So if you pass your probation and continue to do well over, let's say, the next 90 days, I get a bonus because I'm the one that referred you. Now, the dollar amount, of course, depends on the job, but it's a nice little setup. I get a little change for bringing you to them and you doing what they needed or expected you to do. The catch is that in a lot of places, if let's say I refer you and it doesn't work out well, not only will I not get the bonus if you didn't make it to the bonus marker period, but I will also not be able to refer anyone else because my reputation is sullied based on your behavior. And I don't know if that's inclusive of unexpected departures or like having to leave for health reasons or an emergency relocation, but it could be. What we do know is that indubitably life happens. We know that it's usually not the intention of the referred to cause damage to the reputation of the referrer. Usually. But that's a non-factor when it comes to what? Does anybody remember from season 2? The agreed upon terms. We talked last season about knowing the updated terms and conditions of our friends. And the reality is most of us don't read any terms and conditions. And then we get mad when they come back and bite us in the face. I can remember working in the garage department and a resident getting bent out of shape because she couldn't exit without paying. She's like, oh, she didn't know she couldn't be there past a certain time. And she didn't know there was a fee. And she didn't have cash. So I told her, okay, well, these are the next steps. Well, now, of course, she found that completely preposterous and completely outrageous. I told her, well, ma'am, all of this is in your lease agreement for the garage. And then she confidently said to me, well, who reads that? And so while it was wild to hear her say that, that's how the majority of people are thinking. Y'all just ain't wild enough to say it out loud. The point is, she, like most people, approach the situation like, I just want what I want. So just tell me where to sign. So in so doing, right, when we do this, we are agreeing to terms we may not be okay with, but will not later be able to dispute because we willingly entered into the agreement. We talked about that in the last episode. Ignorance of the law is not a defense, and the same concept applies here. Back to these referrals. While the intentions of the referred may not be particularly malicious, it doesn't negate the damage done, the extent of said damage, or the irreversibility of it. And it's important to acknowledge those individually because in the example we're using, damage can be the poor recommendation disqualifying your friend from the referral program. The extent of the damage could be that you did something unsavory or illegal, and now your friend that referred you is also terminated because of their association with you. And the irreversibility could be them not being able to get a job in that field again, or not being able to get another job for an extended period of time because this termination is reflecting on their credit report. And any of those levels of damage can always lead to the ultimate, most universal, irreversible, I'm not your friend no more. Okay, so how did we get here? The season 1 finale episode was about over-promising and under-delivering. There is never an occasion where that ends well. There is never an occasion where the person who received less than what they were expecting has a positive opinion or nice things to say after it's all said and done. Truth be told, most times, even if you do pull it all together in the end, while your end game will be acknowledged because the ultimate result was satisfactory, when the story is told, it will be told with all of the details, the unanswered messages, the tone, the late delivery, the excuses. And while this is a message that does bear repeating, that's not what we're focusing on today. Today, we're talking about the repercussions of underperforming as a referral. Too many of us take everything for granted. Too many of us think we can laugh or lie our way out of everything. And too many of us feel entitled to another chance. There's just way too much comfort in saying it was just one little mistake. One little mistake can ruin someone's wedding. One little mistake can destroy someone's career. One little mistake can end someone's life. And sadly, one little mistake can not only end the relationship of the person with whom you were doing business, but it can also end the relationship between the person you disappointed and the person that referred you. And some of us don't think about it from that perspective. And some of us don't care if that relationship ends. There's someone right now who's thinking to themselves, that's crazy. Like, if I did something to you, that's between me and you. You taking it out on them is ridiculous, and it shows you as the emotionally immature one. And that's an easy position to take when it's not your trust being violated. Me asking a friend to recommend someone to me is saying I trust their judgment and leadership on this. It's not me saying if you do something amiss, it's their fault. However, just because I don't blame them for what you did doesn't mean I might not look at them sideways, because now new questions have arisen. What are your standards, friend? Are you good with subpar work? Is this the type of service that you were given? Did you recommend this person knowing that they would handle me like this? And then once the seed of doubt is planted, you'll have a hard time uprooting it, because it leads to other questions in the relationship. The trust is damaged. Now, to what extent is the trust damaged? Well, it could be that we're not taking any recommendations from friend again. They're disqualified from the employee referral program. It could be that we're now cutting ties with friend because this was too important. And the only way for us not to turn into a ball of rage every time friend comes around is to not allow friend to come around. So they're terminated from the position and possibly ineligible for rehire. Now, depending on how wild I let my imagination run, I might now believe that the two of you were in cahoots. And now I'm telling everyone that knows friend, watch out, because friend is suspect. And they'll set you up to be let down. And here's how I know. Making them ineligible for rehire elsewhere for something they didn't even do. And someone is rolling their eyes saying, well, if that's how they would act, I don't need them as a friend. And that may be. But the reality is you may already have them as a friend. And the situation has not yet presented itself for you to see that side of them. But that doesn't matter, because they're not the focus here. The focus here is the person recommended or referred. And we're focusing on that person because a lot of us have skill sets and talents that could take us really far. And a lot of us don't necessarily have the capital to get there on our own. Some of us do, and that's phenomenal. But a great reference will serve so much better than a poor one any day. And here's the caveat. A poor reference very often will go so much further. Let me give you an example. When it comes to doing the work and doing it to the best of my ability, top of the list, I come highly recommended. Right along with that recommendation is someone who's pressed to say, yeah, but she ain't gonna be here all time. And whether or not that someone is saying it because they're a super producer and always on time, or they're pressed because they hate the fact I'm getting accolades for my productivity when all they have to offer is their timeliness. The bottom line is that my on-time adjacency will travel further in rumor and conversation than my productivity, especially in time-conscious and time-sensitive arenas. All right, Passioners, as you know, I had multiple projects I was working on over the year and over the summer. And one of those was an album project. I think I told you about it. I might not have. I'm not going to go into all the specifics because my mama taught me better than that. But the long and the longer is that I reached out to a friend for a referral. My friend recommended someone that they'd had a stellar experience with. Now, I saw the work for myself, and that was what made me say, I want to work with them on this particular project. I sent them everything they needed to determine if this was an undertaking they could handle. I had other people behind the scenes on my end, and they were like, Passion, do you have this? Did you do that? Make sure you do this. Do you need my help? I will clear my calendar to be available for whatever you need. I had everything in place. And there was really nothing more that could have been asked for, because not only did I confer with my team, but I was in constant communication with the person I was working with. Come production date, we do everything and we agree that I'll have something to review in roughly 4 to 5 weeks. So when I reach out after week 5, I'm expecting to have something to review. Instead, I get a story. 2 weeks after that, I follow up because I haven't heard a peep from them. No response to my text, so I call 2 days later. Another story. Finally get a text almost a week after that with another story and a delivery date of the coming weekend. On the due date, nothing. No text, no call, no delivery. 2 days after that, I follow up again. 2 days later, I get a response with more empty promises of delivery that week for sure. 3 weeks after that, still nothing. Will I do business with this individual again? Hell no, to the no, to the no. Do they care? Probably not, because if they cared, it wouldn't have been for all of this drag out and unanswered messages and ray. So that relationship is indelibly marked and irreversibly damaged. But what about the relationship with my friend? Now, if I was like the person in the example, I would cancel my friend because y'all don't even know how much went into this project and how much it meant and still means. There have been so many, not even potholes, but sinkholes on the road to seeing this project through, and so much that says, man, F that project, let it go. All this resistance means it was never meant to be. But now let's think. If I allow this travesty to be the nail in the coffin on this project, everything and everyone should get buried with it, no? So that means my friend gets canceled as well, yes? And while the person doing poor business probably couldn't care less about how this impacts my relationship with my friend, the tune becomes quite different if this shoddy handlement destroys their relationship with my friend. Because whether it's a working relationship only or there's an actual friendship, if my friend cancels this individual, they're potentially not just canceling one relationship. There's potential for them to get canceled across the board. There's potential for them to say, I'm not working with you anymore because if you did this to my friend, you could do this to me. There's potential for them to never recommend them again. There's potential for them to be having a casual conversation with someone of importance, mention this situation unintentionally because they don't know the person they're talking to, knows the person they're talking about, and destroy a major opportunity for them just by telling the truth. There's so many situations this has the potential to create. So while my feelings, my money, my respect, none of that might have mattered, did the person that recommended them? Because acting in this way tarnishes everybody's reputation. There are too many of us who are only thinking about the impact on a small scale. Another example, disconnect the cell phone charger in your uncarpeted apartment and it clatters to the floor. No big deal, right? Only it's 2 a.m. It was in your bedroom, which means it also happened downstairs in your neighbor's bedroom. And so while it sounded like a small, unimportant clatter to you, they're a light sleeper, they're easily frightened, and they have a heart condition. So for you, it was a charger that dropped and it wasn't the end of the world. But for them, it could have triggered a heart attack and been the end of their life. Oh my God, Passion, you mad extreme with everything. Because reality is more extreme than we give credence to because we don't want to be held accountable when we do severe damage. Everything is not excusable. One little mistake can trigger an avalanche of calamity that can't be stopped. So if we go back to our real-time example, I can discontinue business with this person. I can post conversation screenshots. I can put them on full blast and make sure everyone I know not only knows about it, but spreads the word as far and as wide as they can. And so can my friend. And then what? It's hard to bounce back from receipts. And all the excuses in the world don't matter if you didn't speak up until you got aired out. But I'm not that kind of person. Source handles my light work. So I'ma just let go, let God, let go, and let God. But I'm going to let you know the final outcome in another episode, though. Bet that. Anyway, Passionates, make sure this isn't now, nor does it ever become your story with anyone else. Don't put yourself in a position to destroy relationships that you value, even and especially if you only value those relationships for their monetary yield. And realistically, not even because you care about damaging the relationship between the person who referred you and the person you failed, but because of the ramifications that damaged relationship will then have on you. Season 2, we talked about the interconnectivity of everything and everyone. Season 1, we talked about burning ships and saving bridges, burning the working relationship, but maintaining the bridge of communication with the person you haven't served to your fullest potential will definitely put an end to anything you do have and could have going on immediately. But it could spare you a negative interaction if you have to cross paths with that person again. And depending on where you live, on where you work, or the type of work you do, it is very possible that you may cross paths with that person again. You want the bridge of communication to still be traversable at that point. You would hate for that person to be behind the biggest contract you ever been offered, and that offer to go up whoosh, in flames when that person realizes, oh, it's you. And if you're an artist or you're dealing with one, you definitely don't want to play these games. Artists cry and scream through their art. You never want to be the muse that inspired someone in the midst of their rage. I have friends who have done it, and I have bodies of work to prove it. So that's about it, Passionates. I said what I needed to say, and I hope you picked up what I put down. Let me know what you have to say. Please drop your comments, your questions, your concerns, your commendations, criticisms, and compliments below. Listener letters can be sent to mybrilliantfriendpassion@gmail.com, whether you are viewing or listening on your preferred podcast platform. Like, subscribe, turn on your notifications, share. Help me help others help themselves. If you would like to be a financial contributor, donations can be made via Podbean, PayPal, Cash App, Linktree, or Zelle. All the links are in the description box. Every little bit helps. It all goes back into the pod. This is your Get You Right Guru signing off. Y'all go forth, be great, be filled with bliss, be armed and empowered with knowledge. Remember that when you ruin your reputation on a referral, you potentially ruin the relationship between the referrer and the person they referred you to. You potentially damage the reputation of the person that referred you. If you damage their reputation, it's safe to assume that you, at minimum, will damage and at worst destroy the relationship you have with them. You may also ruin any potential relationships or opportunities that either of the people you've disappointed could have led you to. Don't let arrogance or irresponsibility burn all your ships and bridges, especially if you know you can't swim. Small business or big business, if you want to remain an open business, make sure there's someone to handle the business if you can't manage the business and be the talent or the crew. Make sure you're staying in contact with someone so at least one person is clear on what's going on. And remember that transparency is powerful and will garner you more grace than shrouds of secrecy any day. In all things, be passionate. See you later.